I mean, I'm sure at Baylor you didn't have these kind of seniors when you took over, did you? I mean, this is a lot better team when you took over.
Correct. We didn't have this talented a group of seniors. How soon did I know they were talented? Well, when you got on the floor in practice, you knew, but I had nothing to compare it to. I'd, not played in the SEC. I played against SEC teams, but not just in the league. So I guess once we started playing in the SEC, you could gauge a little bit that, hey, we can compete. We can compete in this league. Still didn't think we could be doing what we're doing, but that's probably my personality. I'm kind of cautiously optimistic and just stay focused in the moment, and let's just get better every day. Couldn't project or foresee what we would be doing.
I'm sure you remember from watching Kramer play at LSU, you get to the end of the season, the postseason, and some young guys that haven't really been playing much suddenly emerge and make a play or get a hit in a big game. You've pretty much been playing, what, 8 players since conference. Is there anybody that in practice is getting to the point where they could emerge in a spot where you need them, or is it pretty much
I
you're just
think you're
going with
just
these
pretty
8?
much you're pretty much with your eight, but that doesn't mean the rest of them aren't getting reps. They get reps. All of them get reps. That doesn't mean through the course of a game I see something and just say, hey, give her a shot, and you put somebody else in there, keep them ready, and keep them on the edge of their seat that they may get called upon. Injuries, fouls, things like that can make you change your mind, but usually this late date you're going to go with the 8 or 9 that you have in the rotation. And I thought, particularly against Florida, they all got double figure minutes. Those 8 did, and they all gave you some valuable minutes.
Kim, having said that, and specifically talking about your two reserve bigs, they both held the fort when they came in. Would you talk a little bit about those two? Hannah seems like she's matured, and Awa has she came here as a perimeter player, and she's playing inside now, so she's had to do some adjusting too.
Well, let's start with Iowa first. She was in the transfer portal when I got here. So we start going along, and this out of the blue got a call from her that she just really wants to come back. And so I had to do some research on why was she in the portal. Who can I talk to here that knows about her history, and how is she viewed. And then you bring in the 3 seniors and you ask them if they want her back, and make sure that that's a good decision if I do choose to bring her back. And so did a lot of that and brought her back, and been nothing but positive. She's been nothing but good, and she had valuable minutes the other night. She got some big offensive rebounds for us. The only negative about the other night was 2 things. One, I drew up a play for her in a timeout, and she passed the ball. So I'm like, why am I drawing up a play for you if you're going to pass it? And then she had a turnover down on our end. Her mother is here for a week and gets to see her senior night, and guys, that's important. When we had family night, her mother was on the Zoom on the big screen up there, and she cried and was very emotional. So I met her mother after the game the other night, and that's great. She's, when your parents are around, you're happy, and it's good to have her in town. Hannah is, had an up and down year, and she started for us at the beginning, and she's had good moments, but what you weren't getting was just consistent. Just give us something consistently. And I hope that what you saw the other night is at the beginning of a continuation of some consistency in her play. She wanted the ball against Florida. I challenged her and Foss sitting on the bench over there. Basically, our perimeter's trying, but they're not hitting tonight. All we need is for you guys to demand the basketball and make us throw it in there to you. And I just remember one time in front of our bench, Hannah did. She finished. She got fouled. She didn't make the free throw, but it was a sign of, Coach, I listened to what you said.
And Kim, I know you don't like to compare probably which is better, but what's different about maybe the Big 12 from the SEC now that you've been almost through a whole season?
The number of teams, just a number of teams. You know, the Big 12 was what, 10? And what do we have in this league? I can't even count. It's somebody different every week. Just the number of teams. You know, basketball, pretty much at all the Power 5 levels is, you know, you see good elite basketball. Because of the number of teams in the league, it's proportionally accurate to say you're probably going to have more that are really good than if you only, you know, had 10. But there were years that the Big 12, you know, had a lot of elite teams. But I would just say just the number of sheer numbers, you know, just make it tougher.
Speaking of reserves, aside from the offense, what does Ryan Payne give you? It seems like there might be something that might be going haywire on the court, and you'll put her in there. Does she kind of smooths things out? What does she do besides the offense?
Well, she's instant offense. Sometimes I tell her if you forget a play or you can't make a pass, just shoot it, and I think she does. She has tremendous speed and quickness. Just really quick hands, quick feet. She's been a spark for us in a lot of games. The thing I tell her when you go in is don't turn the ball over and don't give up dribble penetration. And I think those are things she's improved on, but we have to continue, you know, to help her a little bit. But she she can substitute for any of the 3 perimeter players. She can, you know, play on the floor with a point guard, and she can also be on the floor and be the point guard. We at Mississippi State the other night, she hits 6, 8 points. There was a game I forget of recent where we went 3 or 4 minutes and didn't score, and she hits a baseline jumper for us. She's not afraid to pull the trigger, and if you're a sub coming off the bench, I'm a little bit shorter with that rope. I'll pull you quicker probably. Not that that's right or fair, but she's been able to handle that in a way. I'm sure she doesn't like it, but she's been able to be productive and handle it in a way that's good for her and good for our team.
All 3 seniors are having their best years, and usually seniors do that. But with a different coach, how do you identify things to make each of those people better, to really raise their level? How did you identify what player needed what to make them better?
Well, it certainly wasn't the workouts that we had before starting as a team because I didn't have those workouts. It certainly wasn't recruiting because I didn't recruit any of them. It is basically do our job when we get on the floor with them and everybody observe, watch, talk about it when we have staff meetings, talk about it in film session. You know, just tell them, I think this kid's got to get better at this. We got to do this. We got to make this kid think this. And just a combination of coaches just working together to hide our weaknesses, to make our strengths better, and really just to build confidence in them and teach them how to play hard. Just teach them how to play hard and extended minutes. You know, we don't have just a ton of depth. But I don't, in the history of my coaching, I don't really play a lot of depth. 8 to 9 players is about all I ever play. And it just worked every day from the time we had them.
Are you expecting Autumn and Lex back next year?
Now, Autumn's done. She doesn't have any more eligibility. Yeah, I expect Lex to come back. But, you know, that's today. You never know about kids. I don't have any problems like, oh, man, I can't wait for the season to be over. Let me help them out the door. Or, oh, I bet this one. I don't even think about it like that anymore because the transfer portal, it's here to stay. It's been here. You have the unexpected happen, and you just have to live with it. But yeah, see why she wouldn't be back.
Stopping the ball seemed to be a problem.
Florida, stopping the ball has been a problem for every team that plays against Florida. They just throw it in so quick. We were back, and they would just throw the ball up right in our face and go score it. So we could be back in transition. We were putting 2 back. They're just good, and that's what they do. And I thought that layups, they got tons of layups early. It wasn't like that wasn't on the scouting report. And what you just hoped is as the game continued that you would eliminate some of those layups.
The straight line drives.
And worked on that for 2 days, how to stop the straight line drives. But you have to be fair. There's nobody that can just play one-on-one defense and stop anybody anymore. There just isn't. So you have to make sure that you do a few little things just to be able to slow it down some. If it's turning them, if it's getting your head on the ball. Because in transition, you're not going to have help side. In transition, it's usually you and that player. And gosh knows, we worked on that for 2 days. But those guards for Florida are tremendous. They're tremendous athletes, players. They're older. Like I said to you, people pay to have those bodies. And God blessed them with those bodies. They're just strong.
Outside of their game, is the maturity that the girls have shown, I know it's not been all the time, but in significant moments, is that the thing that I think that you're most thankful for, I guess, in your seniors?
Yes, and it starts with those seniors. They've been in college a while. They don't get too high. They don't get too low. The thing that they have had to adjust to more than me is there have been some intense moments at halftime. And I'm sure some of them have never been challenged in that tone of voice. I'm sure maybe it doesn't motivate them sometimes. And that's fine too, but I'm going to get my message across. And so that is on-the-job training. That's not something that they can prepare for, but they have responded to it. And they pick each other up. And they basically know each other better than I know them because they've been together a while. And so I've enjoyed this team. It's been a joy. It's been fun. All the winning is great. Everybody loves that. But it's going to get in that film room when I leave you guys that's fun. It's going on that court. It's fun. It's just been a good group to be around. And wow, some of the things that have been done, kudos to those kids. They deserve it.
Kim, how was this group stayed so even killed, 8 in the country, stuff they've never experienced before? How are they staying just not too high or too low, given the success they're experiencing now?
I think it's their maturity. I think it's those seniors. You can say, well, yeah, but they've never been in this position before. No, they haven't. But they've also been in other positions that aren't fun. So I always am big on just talking to them and telling them enjoy the moment. And then I can quickly put them in another place that if what you did yesterday still looks big to you today, then you haven't done much today. Just little things like that to let them know it was fun yesterday, wasn't it? Well, guess what? People forget. So let's go do something else. Let's go do something else. You want them to have an unbelievable last year of college. Every coach wants them to, and it doesn't always work out that way. But for anybody to leave this year, no matter where we finish, how it all ends, there's not a negative that can be written. Think about that. There's not a negative that can be written about this season. Whether we ended in Elite Eight, Sweet 16, the first round, second round, how could you write anything negative? Because I know where we started. They know where they started. And yet, they don't want it to end. Seniors start having a sense of urgency. They start counting. 1, 2. How many do we potentially have left? Wow. It went by fast.
Did KP, do you think KP had some of that this Saturday?
What's that?
Do you think she had some of that looking ahead?
No. Listen. Think about it. We just won a game, and what did our perimeter do? 9 for what? I don't know, 49 or something. It was just unbelievable. 1 for 17 for KP. Cherry, Lex couldn't score the ball. Now, the great thing about it is they never stopped shooting it. And those were good shots they were taking. But you have to understand a lot of it has to do with Florida and how hard and how physical they guard you. And 40 minutes is a long time. And those kids understand, man, I just spent 20 seconds getting it up the floor against them. Oh, wow, I'm wide open. And they, short, or they shoot it long. But yet I turn it around and think, we're doing the same thing to them. We're guarding them, and they're missing shots. So it just kind of balanced, and we washed each other off. And so that's why post-play really was the difference in the game.
Kim, Alabama's playing better. Can you talk a little bit about them? They look like they're an improving team.
Shoot a lot of threes. I'm very familiar with Christy and her husband, Kelly. We coached together at Louisiana Tech. She's a Louisiana girl. She's from, went to LaSalle High School, played for her mother. You know where LaSalle is? Come on. No. Allah. Go look it up. De LaSalle is in New Orleans. This is LaSalle, little country school. And she went to, at the time, Northeast. She's a ULM girl. Kelly's from Texas, her husband. So we were very familiar with each other. When they were at Texas Tech, we had many battles when I was at Baylor. Kelly, or Christy's team, is fighting to maybe be on that bubble, to be talked about as being the, 8th, 9th team from our league to get a bid. So if you talk about when is the best time to get hot and beat some people, it's now. And she's done that. Shoot a lot of threes. And she mixes her defenses up. She'll play you some man. She'll play you some zone. They're going to push it. So we will be prepared. We'll get in that film room today and try to match up with them and understand that they play hard too. They're not going to come in here and you're just going to beat them. It's going to be a ball game, as all of them have been.
What is the key to being the team that you are now, in a position of where this team's, they're trying to just get in the tournament, and you're trying to be as high a seed as you can in the SEC and the NCAA tournament, which was pretty high.
What is the key to that? Well, I don't know that there's, key to doing it is you had to win to get in this position, but how do you keep the team's attention? You tell them. You tell them. I told them, as I told y'all a month ago, we control our own destiny. And I explained to them, what do you mean by that? And I showed them the standings, and I showed them the remaining games. So we've kind of kept, that every time I see them is 2 more. If you can win 2 more, you can be the 2 seed. If it doesn't happen, you can still be a top 4 seed at the SEC, and you can still be a top 4 seed in the NCAA tournament. Just talk to them about it. I wondered when I told them, sometimes you wonder, is it good to talk about it or not talk about it? Heck, it's good to talk about it. If I don't tell them, somebody else is, and they're going to read it somewhere else, and I just want to make sure the information they get comes from me, and it's correct information. And just tell them, lay it out there for them. And you hope as competitors that gives them a little bit more incentive.